Hi everyone, today we're crocheting an avocado. You can add a braided chain to turn it into a hanging charm or thread a leather cord through it to make a sweater necklace. I'm using two different methods to join the pieces. The avocado is made of a pit in the front and a peel in the back. Both joining techniques are demonstrated in this video. Let's dive in. We'll start with the pit. Begin with the magic ring. Crochet 5 single crochets into the ring. Pull the yarn through and chain 1 to start. The chain doesn't count as a stitch. Insert the hook into the ring. Yarn over it and pull through for a single crochet. Place the stitch marker in the very first stitch. For this piece, I'm using regular single crochets instead of cross single crochets. Let's keep going. 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the first round. Round 1 is complete. Tighten the magic ring. Now join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. Insert into that V-stitch. If you're a beginner, don't forget to mark it. Yarn over and pull through. And again, that's your slip stitch. After the slip stitch, chain 1 to start the next round. At the end of every round, you'll slip stitch and chain 1 to begin again. Now if you're looking at a pattern, these steps might not be written in, so be sure to do the slip stitch and chain on your own. Round 2, increase in each of the 5 stitches. Start where we just slip stitched. We begin right there. Work 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Pull the yarn through, and again in the same spot for the increase. There, that's 1 increase. Repeat this in each stitch. You'll have 10 stitches by the end of this round. After that, slip stitch into the first stitch. Here's my first stitch. Remember the center part? That's where you slip stitched and chained last time. Never crochet into those two. It'll throw your count off. You'll end up with the wrong stitch number. Now let's slip stitch and chain again. And begin round 3. Round 3 pattern, 1 single crochet followed by an increase. Next stitch, increase. That completes 1 set. Repeat for 5 sets total. You'll end up with 15 stitches. Finish with a slip stitch and chain. Time for the next round. Let's move on to round 4. In this round, no increases or decreases, just 15 single crochets, 1 single crochet per stitch. Stop at the 15th stitch because we're going to change the yarn color there. Switch to a soft yellow. First, pull the working yarn to extend it. Insert the hook into both loops. And yarn over with a new yellow yarn. Bring it through. Slip stitch to finish this round. Chain 1. Now round 5. We'll start shaping the avocado now. Start by chaining 5. We already chained 1 earlier, so that's 1. Now 2, 3, 4, 5. Then starting from the second to last stitch, work 4 single crochets back down the chain. Let's do that. Two, 3, 4. That finishes the chain portion. Now let's continue crocheting onto the circle base. Continue crocheting around the pit base. Start with 1 single crochet, then an increase, then another single crochet. That's 1 set. The first stitch is right where we chained earlier. Make 5 sets of this pattern. 1 single crochet, 1 increase, and 1 more single crochet. That's 1 set. Repeat 5 times. Your last stitch will be worked into the very last brown stitch from earlier. Just one single crochet here, then pause. We're about to continue. That completes the 20 stitches around the base circle. Next, crochet on the other side of the chain stitches. We'll do 3 single crochets, then 1 increase. Be sure to find the correct first chain stitch right along that chain. 1 single crochet. Two, 3, and the last one is an increase. That finishes it. Now slip stitch to the first stitch on the chain side to join the round. From now on, this is how the rounds begin and end. That completed the full circle. This will now be your new first stitch. Every time you reach this point, you'll slip stitch to close the round. Now let's move on to round 6. This round follows the pattern, 1 increase, and 3 single crochets. That's one group. We'll do 5 of those. Repeat 3 single crochets and 1 increase 5 times. Then continue crocheting for the last few stitches, 4 single crochets and 1 increase. Once you're done, slip stitch to the first stitch, then move on to round 7. And before the last stitch, we'll switch to green yarn, do the color change, and then finish the round with a slip stitch. Color change complete. Now on to round 8. In round 8, just do 1 single crochet in each stitch, 45 in total. You can trim the yarn ends later. Once you finish, fasten off and tuck the yarn tail inside the avocado flesh. That completes the avocado flesh. Next, let's make the peel. Start crocheting the peel. The first 3 rounds are exactly the same as the piece first 3 rounds. Grab your green yarn. Follow the same steps for the pea to complete the first 3 rounds. Once round 3 is done, move on to round 4. Chain 5. We just slip stitched and haven't chained yet. Chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As before, start crocheting from the second chain from the hook. We'll do 4 single crochets. That's 4. Chain section complete. Now continue on the circular base. Start from the first stitch. Pattern 1 single crochet, 1 increase, 1 single crochet. Repeat 5 times. The round ends here at stitch 20. Round finished. Now go back to the chain stitches. There are 4 stitches. Crochet 3 single crochets and 1 increase. Then slip stitch to the first stitch. That'll be the first stitch of the next round. Let's move on to round 5. Pattern is 1 increase. And 3 single crochets. Repeat 3 single crochets and 1 increase 5 times, then 4 single crochets and 1 increase. Round 5 should end with 36 stitches total. For the next few rounds, simply follow the diagram shown on screen. Once you're done, we'll move on to sewing the pieces together. Assembly time. To join the pit and the peel, you can cut the yarn and sew them together with the tapestry needle, or align the 2 pieces and single crochet them together. Match them up so the first stitch of the peel lines up with the last stitch of the pit. Start from the slip stitch point. One side begins at the front of the slip stitch, the other at the end of the last round. Match them up and stitch accordingly. I've already threaded my needle. Now pull the yarn through and continue to the next stitch. Make sure every stitch matches up. Always go under the full V of the stitch. Once you finish, it should look like this. Now I'll show you how to sew it shut. After the final slip stitch, leave a long tail, cut the yarn and thread it through a needle. Then just stitch it together, 1-to-1 matching. Same stitch count as the crochet version, just like this. Be careful with the yarn tail, tuck it in as needed. This stitch here is the back side, same idea as sewing up a doll. When you have just a small gap left, add stuffing and finish sewing it shut. Finally, hide the yarn tail inside the matching colored fabric, then trim it off.